Yo, what's up, guys? It's Talon. Today we're going to be coaching a Jarvan player who I have coached before. We're basically going to be talking mainly about knowing who to path to and when, and understanding which win conditions to play around in the early game, and then understanding later on in the game how to make plans around playing around turrets and such. If you're interested in getting coached by me, a rank 1 Sovereign solo queue player, just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or through the link in the description to my Discord server. It's $25 for an hour of coaching. Anyways, let's get right into it. Hope you guys enjoy.
I was coming off a 9-game losing streak, which was, I
Yeah.
guess, I know people have gone through that kind of stuff, but it was a little bit start making me feel like I really wasn't sure if I was approaching it the right way or if I was not like picking up certain things that always turn the game against me every time. That's
Yep.
part of the reason why I messaged you. But also, and then today I played again. I felt like I was sacrificing a little bit of the farming to help lanes more, to help team fights more, especially past 10:30. You mentioned that. That's something that I think I haven't really focused too much on previously.
Yeah.
Or like I was like just farm more and like be on the other side trying to push towers and stuff, even though I'm Jarvan. So I guess I'm not exactly the best sort of person to push lanes, like in a way,
You're
maybe. I don't
pretty
know.
fine at pushing lanes. Your wave clear is not bad. Yeah,
Like
fine.
lots of Orion, like right.
Well,
So, but
sure,
like
yeah.
yeah, it
I
was
mean, I'm talking about like for junglers, but yeah, most junglers don't have the wave clear of a mage, of course.
yeah, exactly. So I thought like okay, like maybe I need to just fight a bit more and then
Mm,
help out. And it seems like it's working better, but I also feel like my teammates were better. So I don't know.
yeah.
Anyway, okay. All right. Let me see. Shit. How do I share screen last time again? If
If
you
you're
don't mind me.
in the like thing that pops up right when we call with our like profile pictures, you just scroll up from the bottom middle area, and then you'll get the option. If that doesn't make sense, you can always just look it up, and it'll explain probably better than I can.
Yeah, give me a sec. Let me see if I can do this. Let me look at this. I forgot how to do this. Channel. Oh, here we go. You got it?
Yep, I see it. You might want to turn on Do Not Disturb so nothing like pops up. Um,
Do not disturb. Cool.
all
Nope,
right.
nope.
Yeah, you might want to check
Okay,
out your
so
stats
I
quick too, just to see.
oh yeah, sure. So yeah, this is tell me when to scroll, I
Yeah,
suppose.
that's all good. The only other
Okay.
thing is you can go to champion, yeah, in the top right area, and then click, yeah,
Then
the
I can season
season
20.
20.
So
So pretty much just Jarvan. It's good
I'm
having
yeah, I've
option.
been watching yeah, I've been drinking especially for ranked. Just trying to see how much I can push it, but
What have you been
keep
building this
telling
all?
myself. Here. So oh, shit, wrong one. Okay, so this is what I've been typically building.
Yeah. Are you going
Um
Trinity then defensive boots or what?
yeah, so I go Trinity and then I go oh, shit. And then I go yeah, steel caps. And then
Yeah.
this, and then I go Death Dance, and then usually I've been skipping Zeke's a lot. I've been taking more depending on like the enemy champions. I go like Randuin's or Thornmail
Yeah.
or whatnot, or for even Frozen Heart if it's like attack speed. And then I go Twin Guard, and then I get whatever is left depending on situation.
Yeah. Something you might want to try. I've been playing Jarvan lately, quite a bit. I like
Yeah,
going pen boots right away, then Trinity Heartsteel. That way, like the reason I do that is because the pen boots give you like a lot better early game, because early game it's not like you're necessarily concerned with being as tanky as possible. It's a lot more about like if you do your first full clear, you get that reset, you immediately have the pen boots, so you're able to do a lot early. And then you get Heartsteel second, so then it's pretty easy after that to just get taking items and still be like pretty tanky and pretty useful. So that's something you might want to try out, but obviously it's up to you. And then in terms of runes, you can go everything you're going. Giant Slayer, obviously just don't be going it every game. You know, switch Giant Slayer to Tenacity when they have a lot of CC and whatever.
Yep.
But other than that, you know, all good. So, do you have any
Yeah.
questions about
Sometimes
any
I
build
go,
stuff? Or...
yeah, I mean, I haven't gone Tenacity as much. Actually, that's a good reminder. But like sometimes I go Alacrity if I don't see a lot of people with a lot of health.
Yeah.
Just to get boost my attack speed a little bit. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much standard.
I would do Lifesteal instead of Alacrity. You're not really that attack speed reliant, so doing the
Right.
Bloodline instead, if that's the case, I prefer that. Just because it lets you
Oh,
sustain
okay.
a bit off camps and whatnot. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I haven't tried that. Yeah, let me try that out. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah. Other
I
than that,
actually
you
do
can go
have
into
more.
the. Yeah. Oh, you have
Sorry,
that build, right?
I do have worse build up. Just
Mhm.
as I for some reason I think um I I personally feel like I've had an or more used to the sort of what to expect for my damage going with the build I have right now. But
Yeah.
sometimes I do use yours. Yeah,
There's
so it
nothing
just
wrong with
depends.
the build you're going, so if that's like what feels better for you, I have no issue with it. But yeah.
Okay.
Also, sorry, I'm coughing
All
a
right.
lot. I'm kind of sick, but yeah.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Take care. Okay, so I have two games that I picked out that I feel like were pretty decent representation of kind of what I was struggling with. So this is the first game.
Okay.
Yeah, just play.
Yeah, in terms of choosing where to path, I would probably path to dual lane just because Mordekaiser and Mundo aren't really things we can actually kill for the most part early, and neither one has Ignite, so even if you do kill, like, they'll just TP back, it's not that useful, so...
Okay. Okay.
Even though Smolder Lux will lose to Ashe Senna, it's just
Yeah,
like...
I might have gone. Yeah, I might have gone Baron lane. I might have leaned towards Baron just because I thought they were going to be just kind of dueling a lot, a little bit. Where am I?
Yeah, I mean, Mordekaiser is pretty hard to hit kill, obviously if you gank him on level 5, and you can put the 3 low bars, that Fog of War. But yeah, one, like, Mordekaiser is quite hard to kill.
Yep.
And then, again, he has TP. Mundo doesn't really have any gank set up. So even though, yeah, like your dual lane are not winning the matchup,
Yep.
there's no dashes, no mobility on Ashe Senna. And it's not
Yep.
like Smolder Lux should just get shit on or anything. So that's just a lane that we would prefer to path to. But I understand why you did do this, because it's not like you have a winning dual lane. So it still makes sense, but yeah, we don't really prefer to do that overall.
Okay, sure. I mean, I'll just speed through this a little bit more.
Well, you made a heal, unfortunate. There's not really a point in hitting the Scryer's Bloom anymore because it doesn't
I
show
know, right?
So I don't even really hit it now when I'm doing my clear because it slows it down by like a second and doesn't do anything good. So
yeah, I realize it's actually been used more against me more often than I find it useful because sometimes if the mid lane push in, then they like kind of scam me, and then they know that whether I clear that side or not.
But if they use it, they can already have that information, like just by walking and seeing if your Raptors are up. So it doesn't really matter that they do that. So they'll pretty much be able to tell anyways. So. And then yeah, once you see their jungler here, all you can do is just reset and go bot scuttle, because you should know that he's most likely not done bot scuttle. And even if he has, you just don't really have anything to do here, and it's a lot more likely you can make a play bot. Or I guess, it's actually a little later, so he's just opposite side of you at this point, so kind of fine. I don't really have a problem with your early game though. There wasn't a whole lot to do. You should push this mid wave right now though, actually. Just pause here, pause here. Like,
sorry.
So your teammate took like a random roam for no reason and Ahri roamed. And this is kind of a weird thing. It doesn't happen a lot early game, but in this situation, you actually just could have gone and pushed mid wave and then taken a turret plate, because literally all like mid and bot are all just bot. So you know there's going to be a long time where no one's there, and your blue buff hasn't spawned yet, so you're not like losing out. You'll just go back to your blue buff right after. So if you just push that wave, all that happens is you get the wave gold. You're going to deny the wave gold because it'll die to the turret. So even though you're not getting full gold, you're getting more than they would get, and then you'll get a plate probably. Or
Okay.
you'll see the enemy jungler because he'll show up, and then you'll just EQ out and you're fine. So
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
but again, other than that, your early game is fine. And yeah, I mean, I remember us like kind of talking about this, and it makes sense that you're doing that. Yeah, I don't really mind you looking to get timers either, because you don't really have anything specific that you're doing.
Yeah.
Here you can just reset and go bot. Again, like, we want to understand who we can actually gank. We're not really going to want to play super hard around their top laner, for
Yeah.
the reasons we spoke about. So if you just reset and gone bot earlier and understood who's actually gankable. Okay, here this is good though, because you do see your teammate roam again. So this is literally what we wanted you to do last time, and so it's good that you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all good. And just walking bot.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, really only mistake is that you didn't do that the first time. Everything else about your early game has been pretty much perfect. In my opinion, you should have reset and gone bot earlier this time instead of going mid, because you didn't realize that you'd be able to go mid at that point. Luckily, they gave you the opportunity to, so it worked out. But understanding just that you want to be playing around the dual lane, basically, because the other lanes aren't very gankable, because Ahri will dash out most of the time, and Mordekaiser, like we said, is not really killable. Then, yeah. You want to click the scoreboard real quick so we can see what...
Okay. Yeah.
that, and then there. Okay, so if we're looking at it, yeah, like, Mordekaiser and Mundo are pretty similar in strength. I mean, Mordekaiser's winning a little bit. So everything is pretty even. So, I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to think if, like, you should have... Yeah, no, you should just do your blue side camps and then just go up to Herald, and if Herald's taken, then you just go Dragon after. Because, yeah, we don't really overly care about any random objective at this point.
Yeah. I mean, we can come back to this later, but essentially, what I've struggled with, and I think one of the reasons why I was losing so many games earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I may have been is I felt like Dragons was always just, again, I know this has been hammered a lot, but Dragon just seems to be a huge thing for bot lane, and everyone always seems to want to rotate, even though the jungle is there.
Yeah.
You know, their mid lane's rotated down, they're 4v2 or 4v3, and they still want to get it. And then it ends up snowballing a lot in the sense that they die, they lose it, and then they get their bot turret taken, and then it kind of snowballs either the mid lane or the jungle or the bot lane a lot. That's something that during the losing streak, I've resisted from going there to get in there, like to join in. But I feel like for some reason, it hasn't really worked out well.
It hasn't worked out
whenever
you not going to the fights, and so you want to play harder around actually like having those fights with your bot laner. So pause here.
Yeah.
Stop playing everything on 2x speed. Go back to that
Okay,
point.
sorry.
It's fine.
Sorry.
I understand why you're doing it, but it's like we have until 9:30. Like until I have to go. So like I'm not in a rush. We have like an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
But go back further there and like actually like 6:30.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Yeah, I get.
Right here?
No, like 6:30. So like 20 seconds ago. You know, like there.
Come on. I'm having trouble. Sorry, give me a second.
You're fine. Yeah. And then just pause. Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is like your goal is to be able to contest dragon. And so I have explained, and you know, like my reasoning for why dragon isn't overly useful, but if you're when you're wanting or identifying that you do want to play around your bot lane, which can happen at times, and you're wanting to play like specifically to fight dragon, you want to think about then where you want to start based on that, because you have two options. Like, as you know, you clear like each side of the map at least twice, right? And then you'll clear the side you started on a third time before dragon. Are you aware of that? Or
yeah, you get basically five waves,
5
so to speak.
And so the point is, it's a lot more there's two things that you can do, because if you're, as you saw, you know, you're at about 620, and your blue side, even though you started red side, is already spawning again, which would be the 6th time you clear any side, right? So if you wanted your red side to be spawning right as dragon is coming up, then you would have to start blue side, right? Because red side would then be your sixth side. Is that making sense? Or
Yeah.
not? Okay. So the point is, if you want to do it that way, you can do it that way, and then you also get the path towards your duo lane, who are the lane you want to play around. So if you're wanting or thinking you're going to want to play around Dragon, you do it like that. The only problem is you have to make sure you're actually being quite efficient, because if you like ever kind of skip out on camps for a bit, they're going to respawn late enough that it won't happen. Like your sixth side won't start respawning quite near the dragon, and then it'll kind of naturally lead you the other way. So the point is, though, if you don't have a clear option, like, so the first point is you can make that plan if you really see like a specific lane you want to play around. You're going to want to path towards it and then make sure you're efficient so that happens. But if you don't see a clear lane you want to play around, you can just take the most efficient route, which is in this case your 300 gold, because there's not a specific reason for you to want to play around dual lane. But I understand what you're saying is like, you tell me this, but it's not really working when I play. And so if you just want to be trying to path towards dragons a lot more, you can try pathing to dual lane most games, and only really path to solo lane when you have a very clear winning matchup. So again, there's two things I talk about when it's like deciding where to path, and the first is lane strength. That's pretty obvious. You generally want to path towards a stronger laner. But in this game, again, I told you to path towards your not stronger laner. And generally, if you want to default to it, you can default to pathing to dual lane, so that you can have this thing we're talking about happen, that you can have the ability to fight around dragon more often. And then the time where you do want to switch to path to solo lane is going to be like, I have a Renekton, you know, or something, or the enemy has a Kayle or a Vayne top, right? Like, they have these specific things where you're really like, okay, I'm definitely... Whereas if, say, it's like Darius versus Set, like, yeah, you could path to the Darius. You might have some gank setups, he'll probably do fine, but if this is the process you're wanting to follow and the way you want to play, then you only really need to path to solo lane when you have like a hard winning lane matchup or someone with a really good gank setup, whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you can do that. You can show the replay. I was explaining that separately from what then I want to talk about as you're like doing this, but if you have questions as well, obviously, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess while I'm playing this at 1x, so I think I came back around to this because I didn't have vision on the Herald, and I have vision because of teammates and the ward for this one. So I also knew he wasn't on the side, so the jungle wasn't here. So I lost. I think I got this whole.
I mean, you didn't know the jungle wasn't here though. You just knew he wasn't literally on top of the dragon. Like, as he did show up, and I don't think he was doing Herald because top laner seemed to get it, not the Kha'Zix. So you didn't really know. Sure, you're like, all you knew is that he's not immediately on the dragon itself. But yeah, I don't necessarily think that's true, that like you definitely knew he wasn't there. And again, I don't care, because if he is there on Herald and you're like sure he's on Herald and you did your blue side, all you have to do is do your blue side. He does Herald, he resets, he goes dragon like he did, and then you go and make a play top side because he's now doing dragon. So if you can get information that he's doing something and give up both objectives, I don't mind that, because the Infernal Dragon's not really going to do anything for you like early game.
Okay, fair. Rather than trying to...
And then the other option you have is you do all your blue side camps. Say he does do Herald. You just, if you see now you have vision on dragon, if you're like, oh, that looks like a good 4v4, then you go and you 4v4. And if it doesn't look good, then you'll do what I just said, where you just go topside as he goes to dragon. But you have either of those options, and just being patient is going to be a lot more effective than rushing the dragon, where you did end up losing it anyways, and then you overforced bot after and died. That was just kind of, again, you just reset and do your topside camps after you finish dragon, even though you lost it, right? Instead you went to make a play bot knowing that their jungler is there. And if you're trying to force a play on even numbers bot, it's usually not going to work, because obviously they're going to be backing into their turret, and then stuff like what happened is going to happen. So you're only really wanting to force those side lane players after an objective when you know the enemy is still on the other objective, not when they've already came back. And that's, again, You did overforce a bit because you knew multiple people are
Yeah.
there, but it's like that's
Yeah.
more reasonable. I don't mind the mistake too much. But you are kind of trying to force a lot of plays, just not around numbers advantages, and I would say that's like the biggest thing for your mid game is
Okay.
like your goal mid game is to get these outer turrets, the bot turret and the top turret that are up. These are almost
Yeah.
always from 6 minutes to 10:30 your main goal in the mid game. And right
Okay.
now, all of your plays are being made when you know enemy jungle is matching you. Like you literally saw him there, and you saw him on
Yeah.
dragon the time before. And so you're using your times. I like that you're getting the wave here, but you're using a lot of your time to, yeah, basically, and you should just take an entire wave, push farther,
Yeah, I don't know
because you
what
just saw
I- yeah,
Kha'Zix. You just saw Kha'Zix take TP bot, so you know he's not bot, and you know their Mordekaiser is not yet there either. And instead, you again came to jack off mid to try to kill a level 12 Mordekaiser that you're never gonna kill. So now you just wasted your time. You got one random camp, and you got nothing out of it. So this actually really heavily relates to the problem you're telling me, because you're telling me the problem
Yeah.
is you feel like you overfarm, and you don't really have the ability to like actually force plays or make plays with your team, and then you feel like you've kind of not done that much by the time you get to like 11 minutes, so you've been trying to force plays more. Is that accurate? Pause here as well.
Okay.
But yeah, you can tell me
Yeah,
if
I
that's
guess.
different then.
I mean, I guess. I think the replay shows that, like during that particular moment, my decision-making process is different from sort of the overarching thinking that or approach that I have towards a game. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
want to focus on farming and whatnot. But then obviously there are these moments where now I'm looking also at replay as well, where I realize that's not actually what I was doing, or
Yeah.
that's not actually how I was approaching the game. So definitely these are things that I can work on as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah, like, for example, like the play earlier where I just EQ into 3 people. That's definitely not something that I should be doing, regardless, especially since they seem to be snowballing quite a bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, and I
Sorry,
wanted you to
I'll
pause here to explain something else. That's
Yep.
why. But yeah, that makes sense. So again,
Yeah, for sure.
I want you making more plans for things you can do 20, 30, 40 seconds from the current state you're in. So you don't need to go back in the replay, but 10 seconds ago, you were right near mid-wave. So at this point, like your window is gone to do topside because Mordekaiser's there. You're not really going to kill the Mordekaiser with ult most of the
Yep.
time. Obviously, he might end, but generally not going to. So you have a different option now. Kha'Zix has been bot for about a minute. Like you saw him bot on the TP thing, and then obviously you see him. You see him now. You know he's probably gonna make a play here, and then what's he gonna do 15 seconds from the play roughly?
Probably just either gonna back. He's
Yeah, he's
either
gonna
gonna
back.
call. Yeah.
And he's gonna go red side, right? He's not gonna go back to his
Yep.
blue side because he's obviously just cleared that. It's like very obvious.
Yep.
So what can you do with that information based on what
Take
we've been
his red side.
talking about? No, you don't take his red side. You push the mid wave and then you go bot. Because what you're trying to do again is you're trying to create numbers advantages to take these turrets. So if he's topside,
Okay.
there's no
Okay.
turret for you up. So he does stuff topside, it's not as beneficial as you doing stuff bot side because you can get turret out of that. So you need to understand in these situations, I'm trying to, because the problem is you're just like telling me as a blanket statement, you think you kind of need to fight more or force more plays because right now, yeah, you'll farm, you'll do decent, but like your teammates don't feel good enough. And it feels like you're just kind of going to lose the game anyway. So what you need is to have specific plans around specific times of the game, around specific objectives, which are turrets. Turrets are objectives essentially, and make plays around those based on numbers advantages. That's the biggest thing you need to understand. And the way you can create numbers advantages is almost always through knowing enemy jungle pathing, because obviously jungle is the main way to create a numbers advantage, because dual lane are usually going to be in dual lane, Baron lane will usually be in Baron lane. Obviously a mid laner can help you rotate as well. So the point is, you push this mid wave right now. You know he's going to reset like 10-20 seconds from now. You start walking to bot lane since you've already cleared all your blue side except your blue buff, which I don't care. You don't need your blue buff that bad right now. And then you make a play bot on the next wave, that the wave that's not right there right now, but the next one that's going to come. That would be the wave that you would make a play on because Kha'Zix will be gone by then. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So your main goal just needs to be making plans around numbers advantages from 6 minutes to 10:30, and then using that to get these outer turrets, which is your main goal.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can start the
I'm
replay.
gonna,
That's just all.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna need a little bit more. Like I need to like practice sort of getting into this mindset more,
Yeah,
just because I don't think that's something that I'm actively planning right now.
that's fine.
Um, yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously what we're here for. We'll kind of hope that I'm telling you something that you hadn't thought about as much before. Otherwise, I'd probably
For sure, for
no
sure.
reason for you to give me money. So that's good. And then again, you see all that happens here. You walked here, you got stonewalled because it's Mordekaiser. And so you've spent a lot
Yeah,
of time just like you walk up at someone you can't kill, and then you waste time. Meanwhile, your teammate's doing stuff bot, or your enemy is doing stuff bot rather. So
yeah,
again, do this blue buff, push mid, push the next mid wave because there's two, and then just walk bot because again we know Kha'Zix at this point is probably top. He might be coming now because Dragon and people obsess over Dragon to be fair. But yeah, you pretty much
right.
didn't like. Also, it's kind of a separate thing is you would have been really set up well for Dragon if you'd done that stuff just because you would have had pressure there. So again, Mordekaiser TP's here. Just fuck off. Go push mid. Like you're not gonna win with numbers disadvantage right now like this. Like it just shouldn't be possible.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's just like kind of you go in, you know you can't really win these fights. Like you're down a bunch of gold. You haven't been doing that well in the fights previously. Then you just go and force
yeah,
a bunch of stuff anyways. So
yeah.
sure, like fighting is good, but like you could have just pushed the mid wave, pressured mid, and then have the enemy actually have to come into you. Instead, you just made it like you didn't really do anything here. You just went into a fight where you're down 2-3k gold as a team. You had no setup for the fight. You didn't really have any reason to be doing that.
Yep, yep.
And also, again, he TP'd in, so like you knew that you had numbers disadvantage. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the general theme is that you're not understanding numbers advantages and you're still forcing plays very often when you don't have that, which is making your games way harder.
Yeah, understand.
And then yeah, now you understand like the Baron has spawned. This is kind of the thing we want to value more. Since you knew that they're probably not on Baron right away, it's fine that you're doing this as long as you're getting. I mean, I don't even mind trying to do something here just because the enemy I'll show here, so it's fine. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but
Yeah, the charm.
yeah, I don't mind that you're forcing something here just because there's a gold bounty on this turret and the enemy showed, so you know they can't be doing Baron. But generally, I do obviously want you to be very aware of the Baron.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't mind you just going to blue side now because you're not really going to get anything done here. But yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't making much progress, so I just
And again, that's the problem is like when you have all these turrets up at this point in the game, it's really hard to get anything done because the enemy can pretty much just like they're not very diveable. You can't really make plays on them. Meanwhile, your side lane turrets are dead. Very easy for your teammates to get caught out on side lane. So this is kind of like definitely the biggest thing to be keeping in mind. And then you just have a lot of times where you go in like really early. So if you're gonna one-trick Jarvan as well, like normally Jarvan is picked when the enemy don't have dashes. Like he's not an every game champion for a lot of people. He can be an every game champion. He's not a bad one, but that's normally when he's picked. So if you're gonna pick him every game, you need to be very, very aware of like when the enemy actually use these dashes that they have, like a Kha'Zix jump, for example, and waiting until those things really come out. Rather than like even here right now, you should just be looking to ult on Senna and Ashe because they have no dash, and then just you can EQ out. Like you don't have to actually go on them fully, unless you can kill them. Like you can just ult onto them and then just EQ out, and your teammates can pretty much hit them for free, and they have to flash or they're just dead. So like instead of EQing on that Mordekaiser that was already dead, if you just immediately went onto the Ashe Senna, they wouldn't really have been able to play the game. Still works out well here though. Like I don't mind. But and then yeah, I mean you keep Baron, so definitely very good here. And so again, with this Baron, you better be extremely focused on getting these turrets, like more than anything. You would push bot here just because you want to get that dragon because it is soul for them. But so you should immediately be resetting and pushing bot. Yeah, there's no reason for you to walk through this camp right now. Because now it's making your setup way worse. You haven't spent your gold. And now by the time you reset, if you do reset, the bot waves are not pushed. Like you're not pushing anything yet. So you don't have pressure on the side lane. And then the dragon is spawning. So now you're not there like setting up in advance. You're only there as soon as it spawns. And again, you should be pushing through bot. Like you want to be playing around these bot turrets, but basically your entire Baron is completely useless because you're all just
Yep.
ramming mid. Like you're
Yep,
not
yep,
doing
yep.
anything useful here. So you need to understand again, turrets are the time where you want to be making these plays, whereas you're just like kind of as a blanket statement saying I want to fight more without realizing what it is you want to fight around. So like again, walk bot here immediately. This
Yep.
is not what you're doing. You're just applying Baron to mid again, even though the bot turret is completely free to be taken. And then you're going and you're farming more camps with your Baron so that your Baron expires. Your Baron did actually nothing here. Like you got
Yeah.
one turret out of it, maybe two, maybe you got this top turret, I forget, but not very useful at all. And then now it's expired. And so as a general rule with your Baron, you want to go for the easiest to take turret. So obviously it's easier to take the very front turret, like the tier, I don't know if they're called tier 1 or tier 3, like the front one, right? Easier to take that
Yep.
one than a tier 2. So top only had tier 2 up, but bot had all of them up. So you would want to walk bot. That's like kind of the general rule we want to follow, those types of things. And then here your teammates died. It's not really your fault that they died. They inted. But with that Baron, with that focus on turrets, you would have been a lot better.
Yep.
And had the opportunity to do
Yep.
something. So somehow this game goes 5 more minutes.
Somehow.
Oh, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I would sneak Baron here, which looks like maybe that's why the game lasts longer. This is a very good call. Yeah. So I guess this is why the game stalls out. Yeah, you should just be hitting it. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because I knew I mean they would definitely be hitting Elder, so I just
Yeah.
figured I had to run.
No, this is very good, and I don't see many people do this. This is definitely a rare choice that people actually make correctly. Yeah, so you absolutely smurf this situation.
But you should watch how this game ends. It's not my proudest moment, but yeah. You know,
Yeah,
we'll see.
fair enough. Well, hey, you did have
Yeah.
like again, this play is genuinely like something that people will not make very often. Like even like much higher level players. So that is a very very good play. So if you throw, you can still just flame your teammates because why not? Always the best option.
It's the easiest option to do.
Yeah. That Ashe cannot hit any arrows too.
Yeah. It's really, yeah, as you said, like it's the dashing champs that I have a lot of trouble with, especially if they really know how to play with like Ari or the
Yeah.
Vengars and the Kha'Zix and the Evelyns. Well, Evelyn not so much, but just the fact that it just shows up out of nowhere, I guess. But
Yeah.
those three that I mentioned earlier, yeah, they tend to be people I have a harder time hitting down unless I have some decent CC in my team.
Did you say Rengar?
More CC. Rengar in as well. Yeah, Rengar. I feel like I also have a hard time. I don't know if that's like
I mean, you
really
can't really
a
dash
true
out of your
thing.
ultimate. Like, he doesn't have a dash. Like, his auto is jumping on you, obviously, if he's in a bush. So he can jump
Yeah.
out if he's in a bush as he's ulted and he's, like, dashing to your teammate. But generally, he can't. He can't dash out of your ult. So it's not really that bad. And also, you're relatively tanky, so it shouldn't usually be a big problem. Kha'Zix obviously is mobile, so he's hard to lock down, but, like, you're also a lot tankier than him, so it's not really that bad. Generally, yeah, it's
Well,
just hard to play into a lot of dash champions. It's fine if they have like 1 or 2 or 3, but
Oh, Ezreal as well.
Ezreal is your
can be.
hardest counter in terms of an ADC or Lucian, one of
Yeah.
those. Like just champs with a lot of dashes. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely something that's hard to play against.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So you see what's happening in my base.
Yeah,
I'm fighting a
I mean your
climb.
teammate is literally AFK. Like
Yeah.
it's not really your fault. Your teammate is back there and he's just AFK. I don't really mind. Again, so you've gotten a lot better. Like your overall choices are quite good, but you're still not winning a lot of games. And I think that's
Yeah.
not because so people do this like they make this mistake a lot where they'll see that they're doing relatively well, but they still end up
Mhm.
losing most of their games or like a decent amount of their games, and they try to like really overcorrect their gameplay.
Yeah.
That's not what you should be doing. Really just need to optimize certain parts of like the mid game, because right now your early game for the most part you understand what you should be doing, and then you kind of lack one, like in the one problem with your early game is lacking the plan around who you really want to play around. So as I said, you played around this
Mhm.
Mordekaiser way too much and got absolutely nothing done. So like early game, even though you farmed efficiently and you made the fine choices, you never had any impact on your lane that's actually going to change the game. So the same way that in this game, if you don't path to Samira Lux, you are griefing the game. Here, I'm guessing you're going to path to Samira Lux because they're a winning lane matchup. But I want you to, again, not only consider winning lane matchup, but also ease of killing. Because, again, some of these Baron lane matchups, Nautilus, Nasus, like, they're not really killable. So, kind of need to understand that a bit better. So
Yeah.
that's definitely your biggest early game thing. And then, again, as I said, the 6 to 10:30, these turrets almost always should be dead before second dragon.
Baron.
If those two outer turrets, and I'm talking about the side lanes. Mid lane, you only kill mid lane turret after winning a fight because it's hard to actually kill mid otherwise. These side lane turrets need to be dead before roughly 10:30.
Okay.
Like those are your two goals. The
Okay.
lane pathing, understanding who to play around better, and then the playing around the side lane turrets basically in the mid game.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll focus on. I think the part that you mentioned about planning ahead by 20, 30, 40 seconds even.
Yeah.
That's something that I definitely need to have a better awareness of.
Yeah.
Just because I think it does really change the rest of the game. Because once second dragon Baron comes up, I think a lot of skirmishes, team fights happen, and then
Yeah.
but then just map pressure and how it looks, I think it just makes it a lot easier. So you're not always like feeling like you're under pressure,
Yeah.
like you're like trying to save 3 lanes at the same time. So
And also for
Yeah.
the planning thing, a better way to say it rather than 20, 30, 40 seconds is one wave or two waves in advance. Because again, as I told you, it was like specifically
Okay.
wait for that next wave. Because you can't do anything
Yeah.
without a wave. So if you see a wave just
Yeah.
got there, you have about 20 seconds till the next wave comes. That's more how to frame it in your mind is next wave, what do I want to do? You know, like that type of thing. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I would say first 6-7 minutes, I'm very aware of timers. Not very. I'm more aware of timers, and I know, as you mentioned, sometimes on your stream, like you have about 10, 15, 20 seconds or one wave or so before you should back and then go hit your other cans, because otherwise it's like sitting gold that's being wasted. So that is fine. But once the lanes become a bit more blurred in the sense of people start roaming around, I think I've become a bit less focused or aware of keeping track of my timers, which I
Yeah.
think is working to my disadvantage for sure.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Makes sense. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, just based on seeing sort of the gold state for this game, I mean, our top lane obviously had a great time. So
Yeah. That's very unfortunate. And obviously, again, like, you're going to have a lot of trolls in this elo. Like, just a lot of people who, like, it just doesn't make sense. You know, it's like, are they even like humans? But yeah.
I had a game yesterday or the day when I was going through a losing streak where my Aurelia and I think my Severe were bot lane together, and then somehow my support was stuck in the top lane by himself, and they never bothered to switch back.
Yeah.
I don't even understand like how these games happen, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it is very confusing. And the thing is, like, those things also happen because then you get a win streak where your opponents are the ones making no sense. And sometimes it feels like it's out of your control, and that's just kind of part of playing in this elo. Playing in any elo, there's just a lot of things you can't control. Which is why, again, like, we're just having these very specific things for you to focus on. And your analysis of the outcome should be based on how well you improve on these things, not how well you, like, win the game. Because, again, then you improve on those things, and you go to the next thing. But for now, that's like, yeah, that's your biggest thing. Wait, he solo killed the Nasus. That's actually insane. He solo killed the Nasus at 1:20 and then ends up being down 10k gold. Pause
You
here.
want to see it?
No, you don't need to show his but I want you to pause and then scroll over to Pantheon as he does the gank. So like, so go to the replay. Like go like 10-20 seconds where he ganks mid.
Yes, around here. Can I get back?
And I just, yeah, you can just fast forward and then just show Pantheon as he ganks. So
Okay.
the reason I'm doing this is I want to.
Sorry, show Pantheon as he ganks. Pantheon's up here, right?
Yeah, he ganks mid in about
Oh, yeah,
to
right.
50 seconds. You also do have you don't have the Fog of War thing turned on, but you can.
Oh, so, I'll scroll here, I guess.
Yeah. And so I want you to just pause as soon as he shows himself in mid, basically. Okay. So the reason I want you to do this is I want you to have, like, to tell me what he's done based on this. I mean, obviously you just saw, but like, it's obvious you can infer what he's done so far, right?
3 camps.
Yeah, he's just in what camps?
His red side camps, right?
Yeah, it's only his red side. So the reason I'm telling you that I want you paying attention to this is to understand he's going to be doing his blue side later. If he started red side, when are his camps going to start respawning?
2:30.
Yeah, 2:30. And if he
2:30 for the 2 small camps, and then later for the yeah.
Yeah. If he started a small camp, the small camp he started on will respawn at 2:20. If he started red, it'll spawn at 2:30. This first small camp. So just roughly 2:30. Yeah. I want you to have this information because this guy is ganked at level 3. If people gank at level 3, they're naturally going to leave a lot of camps open at different times, and they're going to just be very inefficient. So I don't know how you respond to this. I just want to note this and to know what information you would have at this time, to see how you respond. But you can start the replay. I just want to note that so we see how you kind of respond to that, with this awareness that he's potentially going to be forcing a lot of ganks throughout the game. And he is wasted a lot of time already because now he has to go to his blue side. As you've already cleared your 5th camp, he's just now doing, going to be doing his 4th. So. And you also can be pinging your Nautilus a lot because you should know that Pantheon's gonna go there. Will Nautilus listen to you? Probably not, but still should ping it. Then yeah, I'm pretty fine with this choice. Because again, you know the enemy jungler is not gonna be here. Unfortunately, you forced pretty hard. Yeah, so you knew the enemy jungler is not gonna be here because he was forcing bot side, because you saw just pathing. And yet all you had to do was just push that wave and you get a double kill for free with nobody dying. But instead, you overforce and now 2 of you die because you're just not patient enough to push that wave. So all you had to do is push the wave, and then you're in like a super good spot there. So that's definitely a pretty big mistake.
Yeah. So you mean the wave that was under the turret, right? So basically clear that.
The wave was that you dove before the wave got under the turret. So then you took damage right away. But if you just let the wave, like if you push the wave and then let the wave crash, it's way easier to set up the gank, but instead you force. And then because you didn't wave the wave, you had to EQ from relatively far away, which meant it's hard to actually hit your EQ on them. Whereas if you have the wave under, you can pretty much just walk at them and auto-aim your EQ on them. And like bait out, for example, Vayne E. Like let Vayne E you, and then just go back after. Like you don't actually use your EQ until he uses E, that type of thing.
Okay, got it.
And the only reason you could do that is because you knew enemy jungler was not pathing to you. If they're pathing to you, obviously it's a bit more risky, and you want to like first look at his camps and make sure like you know where he is, for example.
Yep.
I'd probably just do red here, but
yeah,
fine though. Not like you wasted a whole bunch of time. And yeah, I just do blue. Okay, so you do. You're kind of like trying to gank this Akali a lot. So again, it's like understanding who you're playing around and who's easy to gank. Like Akali is not an easy champion to gank. She has a lot of ways to escape. And it's not like you knew she didn't have flash, because she does have flash. So there's not really like a reason for you to force anything. But you're trying really hard. Whereas yeah, like going here, dual lane, playing around them is more what you want to be doing. So just use the fact that they just killed here to walk top and hit the turret with them. But you just like push mid now. So again, you could have just helped them push turret. They did recall, so unfortunately it wouldn't have been possible at the end, but you should be looking for that. Yeah. Because even in this early game, when you have a winning lane, like you do have a winning dual lane pretty hard. I don't care about this Nautilus. Just play around them a lot, play around the dual lane a lot, that is. Ignore this, like I don't care about this. I literally just want you to reset and go look top. Instead, you're wasting more and more time and giving yourself less time to be making plays. And look what's happening right now. They're fighting super hard topside. If you're there, you're going to kill Vel'Koz. You're going to get the top turret plates. You're going to be in a very good spot. But instead, once again, you're spending a lot of time playing around shitters. And playing around also not just shitters, but champions who are hard to kill or do anything to. Like Nasus, right? Like, whoever the
Yeah.
top laner was last game, I forget now, Mundo, right? Or Mordekaiser. But, and now, again, you have losing laner, who is not the person you want to play around anyways, because it's a Nautilus, and then you're just flipping an objective. I don't, like, Herald is better than Dragon, we spoke about this, but it's not so much
Yep.
better that you force Herald when you have winning lane other side and losing lane on Herald side. Like, that isn't useful. And so again, your dual lane, you haven't done a thing to use their lead, and you have just consistently fought around the stronger Nasus for no
Yep.
reason, even
Yep.
when it's like less efficient. And this lack of understanding who you need to play around early game is again fucking you over.
Yep.
It just happens to be dual lane both these games, to be clear. It'll be solo lane sometimes. It's just not in these cases. And for example, like a lot of times where it will be solo lane you want to play around, as a general rule, is when you have these really like late game scaling enchanter ADC duos. So you have like Vayne Lulu, right? Kog'Maw,
Yep.
Emilio. Like these champions, you can't really do anything with them early. So you play around your solo lane. But here you kind of have the opposite, where it's like Stonewall top laner that just sits under their turret and farms, or is tanky, like Mordekaiser and Nasus, or it could be like a tank like Ornn or something. And then you also have like a tank on your team that's not really gonna do anything, and yet you're spending all this time playing around them. It's not like you're 24/7 ganking the Nautilus, don't get me wrong, I know that, but like there's a lot of times where you could just be making plays around your dual lane, and not understanding that is like your biggest early game problem. And then again, now here, this invade is great. You want to then find a time where you can now play for bot, just because the turret's up there. And so I don't like this drop at all of Herald, because it's not getting the full turret, when a much more successful play would have been to look for an eventual bot dive from your Herald play, instead of just dropping it mid mindlessly for no reason. Because again, the time you're going to kill a mid turret is most likely going to be after winning a fight. So it doesn't matter if it's 1100 or 2900, you're probably going to be able to kill it all because you want to fight. You're not really going to be able to just get 1100 of the health on it most of the time. And so again here, what could happen, like you just won this fight, this could be when then you would go mid and push the turret, because that's when the turret can die, because you just killed 2 people, but instead now you reset off that, right? So you're not getting any turret from almost any of your positive plays, and you're not planning positive plays around enemy jungle pathing, and then you're using your Herald again in a way where like if your Herald doesn't get a turret and you drop it relatively early, it's pretty useless. This is really good by you though. This choice is very, very good, even though your teammates might, you know, be weird, but this is a good choice. So glad you're doing this.
Yeah, I do. I mean, again, I mentioned this earlier, but my mid game, I think, really is my biggest problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not applying the sort of the things that you mentioned before. And just being more aware of where the advantages and the win conditions are, and just wasting a lot of time. I mean, like this is the first time I'm looking at this replay, to be honest, because I felt like same with the last game, but it really, like, now that I'm looking at this, like there's a lot of stuff that I'm just like, what the hell, why am I going there? Even as I'm watching this.
I mean, even here, like, unfortunately your teammates are griefing because they're on the wrong side, but you didn't need to be chasing that Vayne like that. Like, you're never really going to be able to kill Vayne as they're like kiting you around there. Here I would just block bot wave even, but...
Am I going there? Oh, no, I'm not.
Not the end of the world. And then I also, you could just reset. There are a lot of times where you kind of just show yourself away from Baron, and like you're also low health here. Like they could have easily just kind of done the Baron.
I know. Yeah.
Not ideal, but not the biggest problem or anything. Of your gameplay. Like you're generally relatively aware of Baron. And then again, you can see like these mid turrets don't really die if you don't win a fight.
Yep.
You don't need to be forcing them. Like these, you force this. Like this is another great play. Just multiple plays now you've made opposite side, and then just get out. You don't need to keep fighting.
Yeah.
But these are the plays that you've made that have been really good this game. Is you make an opposite side play for turret, like on the side lane as the enemy overforce on a different part of the map, and that's why the gold is not that bad, even though the game has not really been going in your favor. So again, it's the same 2 mistakes. And those will probably be the 2 main conclusions for this coaching. Again, we don't need to conclude 20 different things, because you generally have mostly proper gameplay. Here again, you're overly not aware of the Baron. I don't know why this is happening a lot, where you're just letting them pretty much sneak Baron for free. Like, you force super hard topside on Nasus. So again, I don't know why Nasus is your obsession. I get that he's like destroying your Baron laner, like that sucks. But you could have done so many things to play around your duo lane who were stomping to make them stomp so much harder, and instead they just got a small lead, and you never like did anything around that, and then just played around your really shit person. When like in these types of ranked games where you get these inters, you just pretty much ignore them until you have to not ignore them. So like obviously after a while you'll have to like make sure Nasus doesn't take your inhib. But you're not going to be like playing around him before that, unless you just see a free kill on the Nasus or something.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why you EQ on a level 15 Nasus too. Like, you should just be running.
I think I might have. Yeah, that was my bad. That was my bad.
And you have this a lot in fights. So this is also like a smaller but important thing is there's a lot of fights where you go in without keeping track of like either what spells they have or how they can kill you. Like, you go on champions before they dash, for example, or you go on a champion where, again, you're like 30% health and Nasus is like 70 or 80% health and he's stronger than you and he's a Nasus. Like, you're generally wanting to target the more like squishy champions. Or just like, again, if you're making an engage for your team, it's fine, but that's not what's happening. Like, your team wasn't even really nearby. You have nobody who can be hitting the Nasus, so it doesn't really make sense. Whereas say you had like a Vayne, you could just ult Nasus and then EQ out just so that your Vayne can hit them for free for a while, for example. Good though. Yeah, we don't want to fight Nasus. We want to reset and push our sides. But
yeah,
we need to eventually kill him, I guess. So,
I guess so.
I mean, this does work. I mean, fighting him.
I think I might have. I think I might have gotten this stolen or something.
Oh. Yeah.
Yep, and then that's the game.
I don't really mind that choice though. Like, that flip is fine.
Yeah.
Just because like you killed all of them, that's like the only chance you have. So that flip is fine.
Exactly. Okay.
It does suck though, obviously, to lose.
Yeah, because I thought, because I already also, I mean, I think I knew Pantheon might have been able to reach it, but I was just trying to get it done ASAP. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. You were like a couple seconds off, and you still had the 50-50. You just happened to miss it. Which Pantheon has a better smite as a champion. He can obviously just Q smite, so it's hard. But like, yeah, if you just waited, you guys would have just lost because you're down 10k anyways before that. So it's fine. Yeah. But obviously just unwinnable now. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with you, and we'll write the notes and everything. So just let me know when you see my screen. You still hear me though, right?
I can hear you. I just transfer you to my laptop. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you see it or not yet?
Yep, I see it. Sorry,
okay.
I see it.
You're really quiet now, so.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Let me see if it's because my microphone. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's fine. It's like slightly quiet, but it's fine. I'll just maybe ask what a couple of times. But so I wrote the first thing down. I wrote some things down after the first game just because my brain doesn't work that well, so I knew I wouldn't remember everything possibly because I'm tired, I guess. But first thing is early game playing around your win con. So really identifying like this is the. In some games you have more than one, and sometimes it changes as well. So in a game, in basically both of these games, you had Baron laners that like, even if Mundo gets fed, you're not gonna like play around Mundo. Like, Mundo is not wanting a bunch of ganks and a bunch of shit, even if he wins lane and gets fed. He's Mundo. Like, his thing is that like he's going to, you know, possibly 1v2 or out, but like he just doesn't do that much with you. So, and then Mordekaiser is also hard to gank, so it's not like enemy is easy to gank, and it's not like you have anyone to really play around. Top lane, the second matchup now is slipping my mind, but it's like similar. Nasus, Nautilus, right? Like, again, if a Nautilus gets fed, who fucking cares? It's Nautilus. And if and like Nasus is just not that easy to gank. So just like there's not much of a reason. Like Nautilus's entire job is just to shut down Nasus. Did he do that? No, but like you can't really control that. So understanding these champions, whether I get them ahead or behind, it doesn't fucking matter, is important. And so I'll just write this kind of. Sometimes WinCon is very specific. WinCon is only one lane, and the other lane functions well while ignored, such as a Scion, right? Like if I'm playing Scion, I'm not wanting 40 ganks from my jungler. It just doesn't make sense. But then other times, sometimes WinCon is more dynamic and based on game. So can you think of a hypothetical scenario of like lane matchups that would be like more dynamic and you'd be deciding more based on the specific game? Like
You mean
who to play
for-
around?
So you mean like a top and bottom lane sort of scenario?
Like where
Like a
you
top
could
lane.
play around top or bottom lane, and it more just depends on the game. Like both champions are champs who are fine gank setup, fine win ahead, and you can like play around and snowball from basically.
Off the top of my head, top lane. Let's see. I mean, you mentioned no, Darius. I guess is not that.
Yeah, Darius is pretty good. There's a lot
Yeah?
of Baron laners that are pretty good. Like you can play around
I mean,
a Darius.
Renekton.
Yeah, what's
I feel
up?
like Renekton would be pretty good, right?
Renekton is very,
or
very
no?
good to play around. Yeah, he's a champion who you do like playing around. You don't have to play around him. He's fine on his own, but you also can play around him in snowball. So this is very dynamic,
Yeah.
right? Because it's you can do either. He can be played around, he can not. So then, if you have a Renekton top, based on your bot lane, again, give me two different bot lanes. Give me a bot lane where, and the enemy matchup as well, where you might play around your bot lane, and then give me a bot lane where you're probably just going to play around that Renekton.
Jinx Milio will be super like late game
Yeah.
focused, so I would probably be siding more towards Renekton in that sense.
Yeah.
Let's say if it's like a Caitlyn Lux where it's a lot like you can really like push people with how much range and how much kind of poking you can do.
Yeah.
I would probably want to side with that.
Okay, so you're
Um,
like almost right with what you're saying. There's one thing you need to be considering. So
Okay.
if you're looking purely at like when deciding pathing, when deciding who to play around, also consider the enemy. So your first thing is like, is this champion good to play around, right? If it's a Mundo, it's a Scion, probably not going to play around them most of the time anyways, unless, you know, dual lane's also not, and then whatever. But you're usually not going to play around them no matter what. But when you have, again, we'll say dynamic laners, like Caitlyn Lux are also, they don't have to be played around. It's not like they're going to like int the game if they're not played around. So you have Caitlyn Lux and you have Renekton, you have both. Now, the way that you decide who you play around is going to be based around the enemy. So
Yep.
if the enemy are really hard to gank, let's say Ezreal Karma, right? And then the enemy Baron laner is Kayle. We're probably going to play around the Renekton versus Kayle matchup because that's a champion we want to put behind more and can put behind more because Kayle is just weak early and we also don't want to kill snowballing. Whereas the Ezreal Karma, Ezreal has E, Karma movement speed, they're very safe, very long range. It's going to be hard to actually gank them. So these are the kinds of things I need you considering a lot more. I need you considering a lot more. First, is the laner dynamic, right? If both my laners are dynamic, you're doing this thought process I just talked about. If they're not really dynamic, where it's like we have one clear champ who we want to play around, one clear lane that we don't want to play around, obviously just play around the clear lane. And if you have multiple lanes that you don't necessarily want to play around, let's say you have Vayne, Lulu, and you have Mundo versus a Scion, in that case, you do what's convenient for you, and then you just play reactive based on what's going on. So like, I would probably still go to the dual lane in that case because Mundo Scion, I'm like really not going to do anything into. But sometimes Vayne, Lulu, you know, like dual lanes are generally squishier. Maybe someone will overextend and I can kill them quicker, right? So, do you have questions about any of that? Do you have other like hypotheticals or just like anything that you're thinking about in relation to like pathing and who you play around early game?
No, I mean, I that makes a lot of sense, like hypothetically. as a
Yeah.
conceptually. I think what matters now is figuring out how to apply that when the game happens.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes I think previously what I was looking at is who was likely to fight more.
Hmm.
That was sometimes what I would base it off of course, like this early late game champ, like which one is more like
Yeah. Yeah.
like focus on all that. That also plays into it. But sometimes when I'm looking at it and I don't really see, maybe something that's not that obvious, or maybe I'm missing something there, then what I would look at is who's likely to fight more. That would give me potentially more opportunity to gank
Right.
rather than looking at who has a better gank setup, what the sort of who's more dynamic, etc. Like what you mentioned. So that's another level of thinking that I need to apply on my laning decisions, like pathing decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing I want you thinking about for your early game, your start of the game.
Okay.
Then also like in the early game, do objective more based on lane strength, but also which camps are coming up. So like you had a full blue side coming up, and yet you did dragon, even though your dual lane and your solo lane were very similar in relative strength. So it didn't really like there wasn't any reason for you to do dragon. And then you overforced as well and died after.
Yep.
In the first game I'm talking about. I
Yep.
don't know if you remember that, but yeah. So like that's kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of something we need to be more focused on. But then after that, that's the early game stuff. Mid game is your biggest problem. I wrote it playing around turrets mid game and then planning 1 or 2 waves in advance. These two are like your biggest things you need to be thinking about.
Yep.
I'm gonna see if you can tell me if you want me to go quicker, because I'm not actually I'm just do this. Like if you don't want me to show, but I'm just gonna try to find an example kind of me doing this in yeah.
Are you gonna watch later?
The G2 thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to, if I'm coaching someone in like 30 minutes, I'll probably have it on in the background as I'm coaching them. I also only slept like 4 hours last night, so if I don't fall asleep, I will watch some. But I'm basically trying to find a situation where I make a play around like turrets that isn't like obvious or requires some level of planning, but I don't remember exactly. So like I don't know if I'll actually find something. But that's kind of like, so again, even like here, I'm just looking to make a play around any turret because we are down quite a bit. But I don't really remember what happens, so we'll kind of see. Like obviously here, it's kind of I don't think I think I see anything. Yeah, here you see like the time we take a mid turret is actually just I don't know, my mind is blanking. But the time we take a mid turret is just after winning fights. So yeah, like all these turrets kind of just died after winning fights in this game, so it's not really a good example. We'll see if we have like later ones that actually, because yeah, sometimes you just end up winning fights and then you're just able to get the stuff off that. Yeah, I mean, this is another situation where we kind of just get them off of winning fights. We'll see. Yeah, and then we just end up, yeah, we win the fights here. We just get more. We'll see if we can find a game. Like I said, if I don't, then I don't. I'm just too good. I win fights too much, so then the turrets just die naturally. I lost the smite here, so I can't. Because the herald usage is another thing I want to mention.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is probably an example of this. Like, I don't even get a turret here. Honestly, I probably just should have. Yeah. I don't see great examples of it just because we end up winning a lot of fights here, like anyways, around, and then the turrets die. So it might be hard to actually find. But yeah, that's the only thing about looking through random games is sometimes I don't remember. Oh,
I mean, you do play a lot of games, so
yeah, it's hard to remember, and my mind is even more broken today, so it's hard. Okay, now it's just not letting me skip anything, so it's hard to find, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you still get the point. I just wanted to see if I can find an example because sometimes it's easier to see that way. But that did remind me about herald usage as well. Generally, use Herald to break a side lane turret, plus get a dive. Only
So it's better
use-
to do. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can finish and I'll ask.
Sure. So only use it to break mid if no dive available.
Hmm.
And Herald is expiring, is half expired or more. Or more. Or if you already broke side turrets. I'm assuming you're going to ask, is it better to break a side or a mid turret? Because everyone would assume that mid turret's better. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I remember something on your stream one time that you want to go for mid
Yeah.
unless there is, unless like you can really break the game open on the side, break
Yeah.
a turret, get a dive, really snowball in that sense. Otherwise, you can also just drop it mid. But I mean, you can explain here, I guess. On this
Yeah.
one.
So the best turret to break is mid because it gives you access to the most parts of the map. So you're not wrong about mid being the best turret to break. The problem with dropping it mid is you only ever get pretty much the Herald charge. Someone's going to be mid, the jungler will be able to respond pretty quickly, so you can get the Herald charge. The problem is you can't get more than that. So you dropped your Herald mid, it was 2900 health, right? The turret, it went to 1100. That didn't do anything for you. That was completely useless and didn't help you. So what you prefer even more than breaking a mid turret is a side lane turret plus a dive or some type of play. Because if you're able to, like, usually say that you have Herald and the enemy side lane turret is like 2500 health. If you drop a Herald there, you basically get to create a dive for free because you can take the turret out of it, and usually they're going to be pushed up then because like their turret's there, so they're going to stay on that side, and then you create a free dive, and then you get a kill, and then oftentimes that kill, obviously you get a turret as well, and then that leads to you now being able to reset and then go to the opposite side and then make a play there as well. And so now you get multiple, like that gives you tempo to then do that. So it's better to drop, to hold Herald and wait for an opportunity to get a side lane dive compared to dropping it mid just for, you know, a mid drop. Now, if you, and this is why I say the half expired part, if you tried to find those plays, but none of those plays showed themselves, you never really had like a drop a Herald side lane and dive play, then you just drop it wherever you can break a turret. So if you can break mid and bot, you're going to choose to break mid because it's better to break. If you can only break bot, you're just going to drop it bot, right? Like based on the health of the turret. So basically the point is, ideally we use a Herald either to get a tier 2, obviously, or to create a dive on the side lane, because side lane is where we can make plays without enemy jungler being there, because we know he's on opposite sides, so then we make a play there on the other side. But then if it's half expired and you have nothing better to do, then just drop it mid, or just drop it to take any turret, basically. But you're just doing it too early, rather than being a bit more patient and waiting for those opportunities.
Yep. And also, I definitely want to use that time a bit more. Or hold on to that a little bit longer, just because. As you get a couple of seconds better or faster on the resets and all that as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay. So from everything we talked about, these are the main conclusions. Early game, you need to understand your win cons better based on, you know, who do I want to play around, who has better gank setup, who's stronger laner, all these things need to be taken into account. And then in those, you know, situations, you need to understand, like, you need to continue playing around your actual win con, not spam ganking the Nautilus or the Nautilus Nasus, but instead, you know, playing around that winning Samira Lux, because you probably could have won through that type of thing. So that's early game, playing around the proper laners and continuing to snowball through them. Mid game, playing around taking these side lane turrets and making those plans 1 or 2 waves in advance, where you're like, okay, I'll push this mid wave, wait for the enemy to go to the other side, and then make a play on the side lane turret, or, you know, I'll sit in this bush for a bit because I've got my camps and this turret is the one that's up that I want to play around. Those types of things. Using Baron properly, we didn't talk about that here, but obviously we talked about it during the session. Again, basically just push out the side lane turret of the easiest wave to take, or the easiest turret to take. And then use that side lane pressure to then go into mid rather than just going mid right away, like you did with Baron. and then the Herald usage, again, what we just talked about. So those are the main conclusions. Again, the main things are the playing around win con early and the turrets and planning in the mid game. Do you have other questions or other things or anything like that?
Yeah, I do actually. One of the
Okay.
biggest things I realize, for example, with the Samira Lux game, maybe not necessarily happening in that game, but even though sometimes I'm pathing towards it, I think sometimes in replays or when I look back, I don't. Or no, even in game, my decisions sometimes I don't try to say like try to gank that place or try to create a numbers advantage or whatnot, and I realize it's because in the event that when I'm pathing there and I'm around that area, they're already really pushed up to the turret. It makes me a bit uneasy for me. I feel a bit uneasy like trying to like get in there and try to say like create a dive or trying to like push into it just because I'm worried either like the jungle or let's say like whatever it is. So sometimes I realize when my lane is actually really pushed into the enemy turret, I actually gank less. But what I realize from a lot of the games that I've lost, oftentimes what happens is the enemy jungle actually takes advantage of the lane advantage or lane prio that they have, and then try to push the turret. They kill like our guys, and then they do a bunch of damage to the turrets, and then they kill the first turret, and then the whole game snowballs from there. So I realize that's also like a gap or like somehow a mental block that I have that I see other jungles do better. But for me, I'm just a bit not sure under what conditions should I feel more comfortable like going in, diving in, or should I or like in what situation should I just like wait until perhaps the lane is pushed back a bit more until it's more suitable for ganking, etc. I don't know if that question makes sense, but
No, it makes sense. And the
yeah,
reality is, it's obviously easier to gank someone if they're pushed further up. Like that,
yeah,
of course, you're right in that thought. The problem with that is if they're pushed up further, usually they have level advantage because they've cleared more minions. They have higher health because they're probably winning the trade, the lane. That's why they have prio. And then if you do kill them, you don't get as much out of it because you haven't crashed a wave, so you don't get as many turret plates or whatever compared to, if you're diving and whatnot. So ultimately, I can't give you a super specific answer because it's very dependent on a lot of things. Like when you're looking to dive someone, you obviously need to know more specifically how they can respond, and you also need to be patient. So the problem is you tried to dive one time, but you didn't wait for the wave to go under. We talked about that. And then you overforced. So having patience around those situations is the first thing, rather than trying to be like, oh, I need to make this play happen right now or else the enemy jungler might come here. Additionally, you just need to know like which spells they have, how can they respond, and be able to like also have a way out. So like, for example, again, something you never do is Jarvan ult someone and then EQ out. Like you can ult and then just EQ out. You don't always have to EQ and then ult in. So that's like a sort of potential situation you can do to set up a dive but also have a way out, or have the ability to like flash out. But basically, like, again, I can't answer for every scenario, but when knowing whether or not to dive or not to dive, consider mid and jungle pathing, enemy cooldowns, consider how they can respond, and have an escape plan. And then also just be okay with just getting a little bit out of it. So it's like, say that I do go in and try to dive someone, and then I just Jarvan ult them and I EQ out and they're half health and then they flash away. That's super fucking good. Just start hitting the turret. You don't need to like try to kill them. Sometimes just forcing out their cooldowns, that's fine as well, because again, you're doing this when you know enemy jungle is not here. So you have that brief period of time to just fuck with them a bit. And then if you get a couple of plates, that's still quite good. You don't need to do anything like special. So yeah, it's mostly those things, and then also just, of course, more dives to practice. So this is not like advice to win a bunch of games. This is just, if you don't know, then do it more so that you figure out when you can and can't dive. And then like you fuck up the dive, your first thought should not be should I or should I not have dove there. Your first thought should be, how could I have played that dive mechanically perfectly? And then if you realize if I played it mechanically perfectly, I probably still would have died, then it was a bad choice. But like, focus more on optimizing how well you're approaching these dive situations, you know, being patient, waiting for a wave, for example. First, basically limit testing, you know, and then you can rein it back once you actually feel like you understand that better. I don't know if that answers your question. If you have follow-up, you can let me know, but
No, I think that's fair. I think practice makes perfect, I suppose. So if I never do it, then I'm never gonna know when I should be doing it or when I should not. But I think also what you mentioned about, just getting some cooldowns or taking out half their health or just putting even more pressure on them, make them back up. So they'll lose minions, they'll lose the turret plates, they'll lose all that. Force other people to respond. I think it also help your help your stronger laners,
yeah,
snowball. I mean, just all that alone, you don't really need to get kills out of it just to label it as a success. But just just try to put pressure on them, and that's already good enough. So.
okay. Do you have any other questions or thoughts or anything?
Yeah, yeah. This is, and then this last question is not really about Jarvan or not really about in game. I've been thinking about not just playing Jarvan, but like also practicing something else, like PvP or just some not.
Yeah,
You mentioned obviously Jarvan is not a perfect person for every game, which definitely feels like that.
yeah.
I would say, from your perspective, what would be another champ or two that I could look to play more to sort of give myself options in case I see, it's a matchup like Ezreal, Ari, and all that, right? Just it's going to be tough game for you to lock them down.
Yeah.
What are some other champs that you would recommend? Maybe like one or two. Like I'm thinking, like is like Warwick someone that's better? Like that's more AP focused. That's something like that's, is that a good choice? Like a Mumu, that's more of a tank AP. Like how does that work?
Do you
Like
have a preference for style? Like, do you like champions that are kind of similar to Jarvan, or not? Like similar in like play style and stuff, not necessarily like what they're good against, or do you not care?
I mean, I would probably feel more comfortable playing a Jarvan style. So that's why I've also tried to play like Vi, but Vi and Jarvan are actually quite similar in their. I would think they're a bit similar. So I'm also uh, uh maybe maybe I can actually try something different. Just to
Okay.
also make my game a
So
bit more fun.
yeah, so there's the like the junglers I play a lot of right now. I've probably been playing. I play like 7 or 8 different ones right now, just like for fun.
Yep.
Most of them are Jarvan type of champion. One of them literally is Jarvan. But they're all like, and then all of those champs I pick in different situations. So first, I'm just gonna tell you all the champs I play, and then why I pick them when I pick them compared to when I pick Jarvan. And then we'll also talk about other ones that are different because most of the ones I play are more similar to Jarvan. So like Vi is way better into dashes because her ult follows. So like she is Jarvan but good into dashes. Whereas Jarvan's obviously just way better when they don't. So Vi is very, very good, while being still good in different scenarios. So like Jarvan Vi is like a really, really good 2 champions. But also Wukong, really good into squishies. Squishy champions. Warwick, good into AP and good into all types of champs. Only problem is slow clear. So he just clears slower than these other junglers. And so he's this weird champion where and he's a champion I've been rank 1 on. Well, I guess Vi, Wukong, and Warwick have all been rank 1 on. The reason I say this is like I understand this champion very well, and compared to all of these other champions, Warwick is the champion where you have to understand that like you have to be really fucking stupid on purpose. Like what I mean is like you skip camps on purpose. You make things weird and volatile on purpose because he wants to fight a lot. He wants people low health and he wants to do this weird shit. But then people get sucked into the weird shit and they don't know when to stop the weird shit. And it's very hard for people to figure that out. Like a lot of there's a Warwick 1 trick in NA. It's like 6,500 games and he still doesn't know how to fucking do this. and a lot of people don't. So he's a good champion if you like fighting a lot, if you want an AP option. But in order to like get past his slow clear, you're still gonna full clear. You're not gonna not full clear. But like after that, you're finding a lot of opportunities to kind of force these sort of weird plays, but then not over forcing it. It can be a little hard, but it's pretty fun. It's a fun thing to figure out. So it's definitely fun, good AP, fine in most matchups. Of course, you know, a couple types of champs might be a little hard, but like overall, he's good in most types of champs. It's mostly champs that clear really fast that he'll struggle into. What other champs do I? Volley.
Camille.
Yeah, I do play Camille. Camille, good into tanks. When you have strong early game champs. I did not put this one in parentheses, but yeah. So the reason that you only really want to be with strong early game champs is because your clear fucking sucks. So if you're playing with a bunch of late game scaling champs, it's just not fun. So she's good in those types of situations. Then volley is something I've been playing. I only played like 2 games recently, but good into lots of melee, or when it's easy to get onto the enemy. So basically, like, he struggles when he gets kited a lot. So Vi is like really, really good at never getting kited. Volley, he literally just has to run at everyone, so he gets kited really easily. So if he's into things like Mundo, Vi, these types of champs, he does well because they have to get on top of you to, you know, like it. So it's just good in like melee stuff that's easy to heal off of and just auto a lot. If there's champs that come to your mind, by the way, feel free to ask. Zen as well is like good into ranged champs. So these are basically the main ones. So the thing is, Jarvan and Vi are probably like the 2 best ones to play together, just because they play super, super similar, but Vi is better into dashes. The problem with Vi Jarvan is they're not optimal into squishy champions. They're both a little bit preferring the enemy to be more like bruisery, not like mega tanky, but like, so like a champion like Wukong or Xin Zhao or even Warwick, those ones are a bit better into squishies. So you could either just do Jarvan Vi and just play them into squishies. I've done that and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Or you could have a Wukong or Xin to kind of also be good into squishies. Do you have other champs you've thought of or that you like? Because these aren't the only options. They're just some.
Open again. I mean, I played like Amumu before, just because I think Amumu, I think it's not an easy, like not a very difficult champ to just understand kind of what you need to be doing and when you need to use your combos and stuff. I mean, I don't think it's definitely I don't think it's a champ that really can like carry the whole team in a sense, but yeah, exactly. But like you definitely can have a lot of utility. You can do a lot of like knock people down and etc. etc. That's something that I was also looking into, just because I'm familiar with it, not because I'm any good at it.
No, Amumu is a good AP option. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And yeah, your win rate is 48%. You don't need to be carrying, you know, having a champ that can get you a 70% win rate. Like, can Amumu have a 70% win rate the same way that, say, a Viego could? Probably not. But Amumu is very good at, if you play it properly, at getting 55, 56, 57% win rate, which really should be your goal, not getting 70 or something. So I think it's good if you're comfortable with it and you like it. Yeah, that's really all. It's a good option. Nothing more to say.
I guess 2 or 3 more people I just want to get your take on. It's Nautilus, Aatrox, and Shyvana. I mean, Shyvana is, I think it's just a game, just farm, and then I guess get 3 items and then start. Going some people, if the game hasn't gone out of control yet, I suppose. But like Nautilus and stuff, I feel like whenever I play against a jungle Nautilus, I have quite a lot of trouble dealing with him. So yeah, I'd like to get your take on that, if you think he's viable as someone that I should work on and practice. And then Aatrox is, again, that's always something that I don't see a lot of people play. But it seems like people who are good at Aatrox are just, they can really dominate from
Yeah.
live streams when I've seen and etc. So again,
Yeah.
your take.
So Nautilus is just fine AP option. He's a little worse than Amumu in my opinion, consistency wise. The good thing about Nautilus, he is fast clear. He has good ganking. The problem is when you're going to build partial AP, at least in jungle, it's very awkward sort of damage to get off, and then you're very squishy still. So it's like you're just clunky, and the clunkiness you don't really want clunkiness on a sort of assassin. But it's completely fine. So it's just like, it's fine if you like it, if you have success with it, it's fine, but it's not something I specifically recommend. Totally fine as an AP option though. Aatrox is a god tier carry bruiser for almost any game. You're right. Also, do you know Valhalla?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
the man
so
is.
I think he's
very
rank
good
1 on it, or he's like peerless on it, so he's been top 10 for like 4 weeks straight on it. I also saw him clear with Aatrox the other day, and I was like, holy shit, like that clear is like really clean. So you can always watch his stuff to learn this champion if that's what you want. He's really good for most games. Aatrox is better into a lot of tanks and melees. He also doesn't like being kited. So yeah, that's pretty much that. He's broken. He's super good for most games just because he's so strong that he can play into the range champs. But a player of your level probably is going to more like be like, okay, this is my champ that I'll pick when the enemy have a lot of melee, a lot of tanky kind of champs. More like the volley sort of type of thing. But obviously Aatrox is still broken for most situations, so if you just like one-tricked him and got really good, you could play him every game. And then Shyvana is good in games where you know at a certain item spike, you can run people down and be a raid boss. So I don't know if you watched my recent video. I played Shyvana like 2 days ago in a video or something.
I saw that video that you put up.
Maybe it came out today actually. It might have. I don't know. But either way, I was like lagging my ass off, but the enemy were like 3 3/4 AP. So I just build a bunch of AP item or MR items and I run at everyone and I miss my spells. I kind of play like shit. And then I still hard carry the game because I have 1k GPM and I farm well. So anytime you see a situation where you know if I farm well, I can just 1v9 a game. So maybe they have a lot of crit champs, for example, so you get a Randuin's, you get a Frozen Heart, you just win. Those are the types of games where Shyvana's OP. The types of games where Shyvana struggles are games where you have late game scaling champions. You try to farm super hard, they try to farm super hard, but you have no prio and you're not making any plays because you're Shyvana, and then you just lose.
So basically, if the whole team is just Jinx, Milio, Kale, you, and then Veigar, then you just might as well stop doing that.
Yeah, but if it's like you have good early game options and the enemy comp looks like you can itemize well, then you're gonna be happy.
Okay. So I'll have a think about what I should complement my Jarvan with, I suppose.
Yeah.
From this list.
And you're free to message me with additional questions if you're like, or you can just tell me your idea. You can be like, okay, I chose Vi and Amumu, and this is why. And I can be like, that's good or bad. But pretty much any champion on this list is fine to pair with Jarvan. They're just, some are going to have more holes in terms of like these certain matchups you'll still struggle. Whereas a champion, again, like Jarvan Vi, you shouldn't really have almost any matchup that's truly a problem if you have these two champs. Of course, you're not always going to counterpick, so you might still blind Jarvan and then they pick a bunch of dash, whatever. But that's like you get the point though. We've talked about it, and genuinely all of these options are fine. I'm coaching someone in 2 minutes, so I will go now. You're free to message me with additional questions or anything like that. I'll upload this video tomorrow. But yeah, goodbye. Good luck.
All right. Thanks, man.